Recording is available, right?
I
Dr.
am.
Ganai?
I just started recording, so I'm recording
Okay.
the window.
All right. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Peter. I'll be working with you all to create a simple Spring Boot application. In this, we'll be making use of some REST APIs, database, and if there's time, we can show you a little bit of the front end with HTML. So, what is Spring Boot? Basically, Spring Boot is like an extension of the Spring framework, which is often used for building web applications. You could use it for microservices. You could also use it for cloud applications. Right now, we're going to use it to build a simple basic web application. It helps get rid of like some boilerplate code. And an additional benefit of using Spring is it comes with automatic configuration. So when you're building your web app, you might need some third-party libraries, which Spring understands. So it kind of configures both the Spring framework and those third-party packages without any manual configuration. It also comes with the embedded Tomcat server. This server should help us when we're working with our web app. And like I added, you can use Spring for a lot of stuff. I've used the Spring Boot framework for building like a Discord bot. I've used it for a JavaFX app. I've used it also for a cloud application and also right now web app. Another benefit could be a future job opportunity. The reason I say this is there's a higher chance you might find, as a Java developer, there's a higher chance you might find positions that are in demand for Spring Boot developers. For example, what we have on screen um, is a research that was made by a fellow member of Grizzly Hacks, where we're able to identify those skills that are in demand. This is, I'll call this a neat tool. This is like a neat way of identifying the skills that are currently in demand. Um, if if
Peter,
you guys can hear me,
are you sharing your
hello?
screen?
Oh no.
Yeah, you're not sharing. And also, I thought we were gonna get an introduction to the club first, or it's gonna be at the end.
Oh, we can talk more about the club at the end.
Because Miranda
This is
has some
fun.
introduction slides and stuff.
We'll worry about it at the end.
Okay, got it. All right, we
Hold
can
on.
see the screen now.
You can see it?
Yep, I can see it.
Miranda, you see clearly? Okay. All right. Like I mentioned, this is a neat way for identifying skills that are in demand. Can anyone guess the type of developers that are currently in demand?
Full stack?
Yeah, well, specifically to programming languages. Let's put it that way.
Python?
Who said it? Yeah, that is the right answer. Python, which is surprising because I expected JavaScript to be mostly in demand, but I guess there's a lot of room for AI and data science. So with this Spring Boot application, I would require some prerequisites. For example, Eclipse. If you have IntelliJ, that is fine. But my personal preference is Eclipse because it has a tool called Spring Tools, which can be found in the Eclipse marketplace. Um, I also believe that everyone present here is familiar with Java. Is that correct?
Yes.
What
Yes.
what's Java?
One second, Peter, if I can interrupt. What are you showing on your screen right now?
I'm supposed to show prerequisites.
So now you're showing. Okay, never mind. Because and it's also flickering. I don't know if other people are seeing the flicker.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, is it just me or everyone else flickering?
Well, it just stopped, by the way,
Yeah.
before you edited it. But
Let me see. Let me see. Does this work if I switch it to screen instead of? uh, So what do you see right now?
We're still seeing the PowerPoint. Are you're in dual screen setup or cloning?
I'm sorry. You said dual screen setup? I think
Yeah,
so. On my screen, it's on my
because
laptop. It should show the presenter view.
we
On the
don't see,
other,
yeah, we don't see anything like that. We're just seeing the PowerPoint screen.
okay, perfect.
No, it's not perfect. It's the other one. We're
No,
not seeing the presentation. We're seeing the PowerPoint window, and we see
oh,
everything small, and we see your like other apps and stuff.
interesting. Mm, 1 second. This is an odd technical problem. I think maybe I should do it via application. I mean, I first had to get applications.
See if that works.
Yeah,
Sorry for the technical difficulties.
let's verify. Is this working as expected?
No,
It's
showing
flashing.
the PowerPoint window and it's flashing. Can you change your monitor to be like a clone of the same one instead of an extension of the monitor?
All right, I'll do that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Farce, we want to see hand movements.
If it's too difficult, maybe it's okay. You can just do it like this.
I think this should work. So if we stop sharing, and we share
The screen
second
2.
and what happens if we?
Try from current side, see.
Oh, hooray! We can see the presentation now.
No.
Okay, that's
Well,
good. Good job.
it's good, right? Okay, perfect. So welcome. We're doing our Spring Boot application, web application development. So we came at the best part. So we're talking about the prerequisites. So you're expected to know Java, which I believe everyone here knows a little bit of Java. If you have IntelliJ, that's fine. I'm working with Eclipse, so there shouldn't be any problem. If there is, just let me know. I'll try to help if possible. We're also working with Postman, which is an application that we'll use to test our REST APIs. Anyone familiar with Postman? Hello?
No, not really.
Yes,
No.
kind of.
I am, I
Really
guess.
before.
Let's see. So, well, just I'll explain it as we go on. So for starters, let's create the Spring Boot project. So there are two ways we can create the Spring Boot project. First, we could go to this link, start.spring.io. If you go to that link, you should be able to customize your Spring projects, choose the dependencies you want and the language you prefer. Or you could also use the Eclipse tool that I mentioned, right? Let me switch my screen so that I can demonstrate how it should be. Bear with me. So let's go to start.spring.io. So we'll be working with Maven right now, and language is definitely Java. If you're familiar with Kotlin, I'm not, so I can't help you with that. As for dependencies, this is what we're going to select right now. We're going to work with the web. So select the Spring Web. And since we're going to work with database in our projects, I want us to work with an embedded database. That way we don't have to do way too much. So if you're following my lead, let me know if I'm going too fast, by the way. So you go to dependencies, go to where you see SQL, and find H2 database. Do you all see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. We're also gonna pick something interesting, which is Spring JPA. This is gonna be responsible for our database operations. All right. So let's start by naming our artifacts. Let's call this Grizzly Web Service. I think that is a good name. If you want, you can change the group. Maybe com.grizzly hack. Description might not be that important. I mean, this description matches. It's a demo project. So we're gonna be working with Java 17. I think everyone has the recent JDK 17, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Oof, that's nice. All right. Just to give us an idea of how it's gonna look like. Better yet, let's just download it first and then we'll see. So click on generate and we'll save this. Just like that, we've created our Spring Boot project. We can open this up with Eclipse. Hello. Don't worry, you're not too late. Just download Eclipse. Do you have Eclipse? Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. Just get Eclipse and just go to this site, start.spring.io, and I can explain that. Bear with me, Eclipse is loading up on my slow computer, so
Did you add any dependencies?
yes, I already did. Uh, Let me show you again. I added for now a
Okay.
Spring Web dependency, the database we'll be using, and the JPA, Spring JPA, Spring.jpa.
Could you scroll down a little for the project metadata?
Yes, right here.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome. You good with this? All right, just let me know when. All right, let me show you my Eclipse. Ignore all these projects, ignore all of this, personal projects. All right, let's start by, actually, let's extract, let's extract what we actually downloaded. So basically, I'm just extracting it from the zip. So I currently have it extracted from the zip file. So if you're using Eclipse, go to File, Imports. Now this is going to be a Maven project because we selected Maven. Let me know if I'm going too fast. So this is the folder I downloaded and extracted. I will click on it, we select the folder, and it should show you something like this. Do you see something like this? Anyone in chat? Am I muted?
We'll kind of get there.
I'm trying to get there as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
same
okay.
here.
Sorry, which file did you download from the web?
The file I generated, when you go to stardustspring.io,
Can you show me the button where it tells you to download? That's
oh,
okay.
generate.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Give me a signal when you've reached this point.
At the moment, I'm using IntelliJ, so I think it may be a little bit different, but I think I'm in the right place.
Okay.
Yeah, you should be fine with IntelliJ.
Eclipse is the better IDE though.
Are you trying to make me argue with you?
Check in. Are we good?
I'm having a little trouble doing this with IntelliJ.
I see. How can I help you here? Let me see. I think I have IntelliJ installed.
Yeah, if you could show me that way, I think. I'm just having trouble with the file.
Yeah, just share your screen.
Okay.
Oh, you can. For privacy sake, should I look at the screen? Sure. Okay.
Hold on, wrong screen. Uh,
All right, so where's the file?
uh, well, I just opened it, I thought, but it's coming up like this. Um, I'm not sure if this is like right. I don't think it is.
Oh, I
That is
think you
correct.
already done it. Yes, it's
That's correct.
correct.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
All right.
Source
Yeah.
main Java. Yep, that's correct. Mm, let me open up the .java file so that we can see the code inside.
Uh, where's that at?
Yeah.
It's the tab up top, or you can double click that file, the Grizzly Web Service application. All right, yeah, it looks good.
Looks
Okay,
good.
okay, thank you.
All right. For the rest, are we good to go? Uh, Anyone else have any
Yeah,
problems?
I'm fine.
Okay. So
I'm
let me
good.
continue. That sounds great. Let's continue. So I click on finish, and as you can see right here, it's with the help of the tool I installed from the Eclipse Marketplace, it identifies this as not just a Maven project, but a Spring Boot project. So if we click on this, we should see something similar to this. Is that correct for everyone else?
How did you input those files again, Pars?
I did file, imports, and I selected Maven, existing Maven projects, then next, and root directory was basically just the folder I extracted from that zip file.
If you're using IntelliJ, do not follow that advice.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. So once you've done that, you should have something similar to this. So let's kind of like explore the layouts. 1 second. To be best if I show you through the slides, but
Did you just also make up like a random name for the project as well? Just a random project, or does okay, actually,
Random name. Well, the name was mostly from here. I don't think I added any other name. As long as you follow this, I think there's nothing else you need to name. But let me know if there is any other photo issues. So as you can see in this, we have our source main Java. This is responsible for all our Java classes, the interfaces we'll be making. Now, source main resources, on the other hand, is usually for things like, for example, if you're adding like a HTML file to this, you often put it around here. The application, the properties file. Now, this is a file mostly for environment configurations. So for example, if you want this app to run on a different port number, instead of localhost 8080, maybe localhost 9090, you can change it from the application or properties file. The rest being the test, if you're good with testing, you could do that. I haven't put my hands on that yet. And this is just some maybe dependencies. I don't want to open it. Well, let me open it just to show you. So Spring comes with like a bunch of embedded stuff. Like I mentioned, the embedded server located within here. And yeah, oh, last but not the least, which is the important part, is the pom.xml file. Now, this file is responsible for all our dependencies, for managing our dependencies. For example, remember the JPA we included? This is where it's going to be stored. The Spring Web that we included is stored here, the H2 database, as well as the Java version we selected, which should be around here. Any questions?
Nope. Oh, cool.
Okay, sounds great. I also give a glossary. I think it'd be best if I share the PowerPoint now. But there is a glossary right now that I have available. As we go through our application, we'll probably get to know a bit of these annotations. For starters, this annotation, you probably have seen this already. Um, you probably have seen this already. It's gonna be on your main Java file, your main Spring Boot app right here. When you go to source main Java and you open this package, this is where the application is being run, right? It has this, so this is where the Spring Boot app starts from. So let's actually start this. Can we all see this? Or rather, does this show on your end that you can start as a Spring Boot app?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we'll do that and click on OK. You need to make this neater. So if you do that, you can check on your console. This shows that the Spring Boot application is running. The benefit of using Spring Boot is it creates a production-ready application. And right now, we can see some key important information. For example, you can see that it starts on port 8080, right? So if we go right now to our browser and we go to localhost 8080, I believe this is all we're gonna see, right? This is what you all see as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
I went to Eclipse, the main application, and just clicked on run. And it should show you between a Java app and a Spring Boot app. Does it show you that? Are you using Eclipse? Did you get the Spring tools? So go to help, go to install, no, Eclipse Marketplace. Is anyone having issues with running the application?
so for me, excuse me, I'm lost actually. Can I
I
share my
got you.
screen?
Sure. So around there, you go to Eclipse, you download the Spring Tools form.
So I tried to import it like you say, but it's not showing up for me.
Hold on. It's loading, so I'm not seeing your screen yet.
Oh, let me see. Am I sharing? Okay, I'm not sure. Oh, I am sure.
For some reason, it's taking its sweet time to load your stream.
Okay, I'll try again.
Perfect.
Yeah, which one? I did generate the file. It's in my desktop, but when I go to Maven to look for it, it doesn't give me an exact location to go to.
Did you extract the file from the zip?
Oh, I have not. If that was the case, I was probably supposed to do.
Okay, try that now. Let's see how that would work.
Okay.
Always the stream is not loading. Okay, I don't think I can see your screen well. You want to send screenshots or?
Let's see here. Sorry, let me try again. So, is it the entire screen we have to share, or is it a window?
It depends on your problem exactly. You mentioned your problem was you couldn't extract the, you
Okay,
couldn't
yes.
generate it as a Maven project, correct?
That's probably because I didn't extract it.
Okay.
Then I go to Maven and file import.
Yeah, file imports, Maven. You click on
Yeah.
this. You're gonna click on existing Maven projects.
Okay, exist in Maven. And then, okay, I see it now. Do we
Nice.
just select the Grizzly web folder itself, or do we click more into it, I would say?
You just browse on the folder. Yes, you select the folder itself. Once you select the folder to show you the POM file, which you also select, which you're selected, and then you finish from there.
Okay, yes, it's working for me now. Thank you, Hars.
Nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So for everyone else, can you run the application properly?
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason why it's showing us this page is because there is nothing that is being displayed, or there's nothing we created for it to show us. But if we do something, for example, let me show you how we can make this look better. So if you go to source main resources, right? I believe it's static. Yes. Let's make a new file. We'll call this index.html. All right. Because we made a change, let's kind of rerun the application. Relaunch the application. So when we go to when we go to that URL again and we refresh, it should show us hello mom, because we already added the HTML page. So that kind of gives you an idea of how you can make a full stack application using Spring. But enough of that. in real life production, we're not just gonna return a string to any client or to any user. So let's work on the best part, the controller layer. So right now we're gonna work on the HTTP requests. We're gonna work on REST APIs. I'm also gonna make just basic server requests. Let me know if I'm going too fast. I can stop and I can help you out if you reach any problem. So for starters, we're gonna create a new package called this controller. I'll do it with you as well so that we know we're in this together. So let's just stop our application from running. Thank you. So right here in source main Java, we're just gonna create a new package, and this is gonna be related to our, what is it again? Just controller. This is our, we're gonna create a new class, and the name of our class is gonna be, let's call this Grizzly Web Service. As you can see here, the package name, well, it does follow the same, as long as it follows the hierarchical order, Grizzly Web Service. So yeah, it should follow the basics. Okay, are we all here? So let's add annotation. We're gonna call this a REST controller. So I'll explain this in a bit. So REST controller, or rather most annotations in Spring, we're kind of telling Spring that, hey, this is a component that is related to Spring. I'm sorry.
Once you pass it, then you're qualified.
So we're basically saying that, oh, I can hear myself twice.
One of those slides.
How
Sorry,
did
can
you
you
get
say that
the
again?
annotation there?
Oh, I just added it right now.
Okay.
Um, okay. All right. Let's get to this. So this REST controller annotation, we're just telling Spring that, hey, this is a component that will handle all of our HTTP requests for our RESTful API service. So a trick with Eclipse is if you press Control Shift and O, it will automatically do the imports. Right. Then we're gonna add another annotation, and we're gonna call this a request mapping. We're gonna give it a URL path. Let's call this /grizzlies. So what this does is whenever we go to localhost 8080/grizzlies, this class is going to be responsible for handling those requests that come through this path that we defined. So I'll give you an example. First of all, let's create a constructor. I'm sure we're all familiar with constructors, right?
Yes.
Okay. The silence can be can be scary. So we're gonna add the get mapping. Get mapping is just like, for example, if you go to google.com, you're kind of making like a get request just to view that. So you're gonna make a get mapping annotation. You can do the Control Shift and O to do the imports. And this time around, we wanted to return a string, just a basic string. Let's call this, I don't know. help me. This is bad bad naming strategy, but just bear with me. I'm just trying to do something. So let's return a simple string. I am an API or something. Okay. And let's run it from here. So now index.html, rather, the index.html, it helps us such that whenever it just goes to localhost 8080, it's going to show us what we have in our HTML file. But if we change our path to slash, what did we have it before? Slash grizzlies, we get the string, hi, I'm an API. That's simple as it is, but we can make this even better, right? We don't just want to return strings, we want to return entities, just valuable objects that we need. And just to help us, I'm gonna show us our glossary again. Oh yeah, this is just everything we did. We added the REST controller, like I mentioned, the request mapping, and yeah, let's actually get to the most important part, which is the data access layer. So we want, whenever a user makes a request to view something, usually that information, for me right now, the information should be stored in the database such that when the user makes a request, in our code, it should contact the database, which returns the information we need and gives it to the user or the client. So right now we're gonna set up connections. And also just so that we don't get lost, this is basically the steps we're going through. We're gonna work on the database layer, which is gonna give the information to the controller, which is gonna be viewed by the client after. So for this, there are two ways we can prepare our data. Has anyone heard of schema? I'm sure everyone's familiar with database, correct? Let me know if you're not. Everyone good with database? Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So usually in the database, we would have like a schema that kind of defines it kind of defines the entities, like their attributes. For example, if we're working with the departments, we have the department name, the department phone number, department location. So we usually specify this in a schema file. But what I found interesting to do is rather than make the schema, right? Spring Boot comes with something called Hibernate. I don't want to give you too much information, but it provides a way for us to generate a schema based on the objects we have in our Java class. Okay, so bear with me. We're going to start working on the entities. So we're going to have two entities, faculties and departments. For starters, let's create a new package called com.grizzly, the grizzly web.entity. Almost the same way I did it previously. Just create an entity package. Are we good with that?
Mhm.
And also, this is just how our faculty and department should be. So our faculty entity is going to be a Java class, right? And in this Java class, we'll have attributes called first name, last name, phone, and email. Um, Maybe we should do this as like a simple practice. Just make a simple Java class called faculty and another Java class called department within the entity package. And just let me know when you're done. I mean, I'm not hearing much from people, so I just want to make sure you guys are still
Question.
there. Yes.
I'm
So,
here still.
You said that we're creating a whole separate package folder.
yes.
Okay.
Let me
Under
give
Grizzly Web.
yes, under the main package. So just have
Okay.
like a new package.
Gotcha.
The I believe I call it the entity. And in that new package, create the two classes. The faculty class, which like I mentioned, should have a first name, last name. phone number and email. Also to help you out, the phone number, let it be the data type of a long, just for our purposes. Actually, while you guys are working on it, I could also do it as well. Let me know you guys have so much time. So faculty class. Just a simple, basic.
Question?
Yes,
Did you create that controller package above the entity?
yes.
Okay. You.
Okay. If you want me to go back to it, just let me know. All good? Okay. Let's do this. Let's call this faculty first name. Although maybe there should be a better way we should name this so that it looks neat. All right, let's have another attributes which should represent our faculty last name. And the long to represent the faculty phone number.
I'm gonna make a statement. So if anyone has any questions, right, feel free to ask inside the chat, like the general chat, if you don't want to like say it out loud.
Yeah, that's perfect as well. And like always, let's generate the getters and setters. And let's just have a toString method because I like having that. Okay, are we good to go?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Give me a
yeah.
moment. I'm still generating the toString.
Oh, you're still generating the toString. Okay.
Yeah, I'm done now.
Are we all good here? Are we all good?
Yeah.
For me? That's a good way. Okay. So now there's something I also want to talk about. We want Spring to know that this is not just a simple class that we're making. We wanted to know that this is going to represent an entity within our database. So on top of our class, we're going to add the entity annotation. And it just tells Spring, like I said, and let me show you how this would look like. So we're going to include an ID. I would prefer if we use long for ID. I've had some issues using just regular integer. So let's just use long ID. Now, like I mentioned before, this is not just going to be a regular Java class. So we need to let Spring know that this is going to be an entity within the database. And for our ID, we need to let it know that this is going to be a primary key. Oh, keep in mind when you're importing, by the way, we're importing from Jakarta, the persistence. Before it used to be Java FX, Java X, but now it's Jakarta. That's this information. So another key thing I want to add is, for example, how is the primary key going to be generated, right? What we want Spring to kind of do that for us rather than us just creating a entity and assigning it a primary key. We want Spring to automatically generate a primary key for us. So we'll add a generated annotation. I forget how it is. 1 second. There's generated value. Generated value. Strategy is equal to generation. Type dot identity. Okay. You don't need to focus so much on this. Just this basically says this basically makes Spring and Hibernate automatically generate unique IDs for us. Okay, it's even defined here. The beauty of Eclipse. All right. What else should we add? Oh yeah, let's work on the department class. I don't know if anyone else has created the department class ahead of time. You know what? How about you guys create the department class and let me know if you encountered any trouble. It's gonna be similar to the faculty class. Just keep in mind we're gonna be using um, department name, department phone, and department location. If I'm moving too fast, just let me know. All right, I'm back. I believe we're not having any problems with the department class, correct?
Do you want us to
Correct.
set this one as an entity as well, or
Yes, it's gonna be an entity for us.
okay? So which one would be the primary key in that case?
We um, you just call it an ID, almost the same way we did faculty. Just
Okay.
define it the same way we did faculty.
I'm getting a error. This just happened, but it's like for the annotation entity in the
Mhm.
faculty class. I'm
I
hovering
see.
over it, and it's telling me if I should create an annotation entity or changes to entity scan.
Um, so if you follow this, did you do an import? Like if you're on Eclipse, you can press Control Shift and O, and to automatically import the.
Check if you have the correct import. Sometimes you'll be importing the same thing, but it'll be completely different.
Okay.
I know I ran into that error before.
Okay, so let me work with the department with y'all as well. So right now it's showing an error, right? We're importing this from Jakarta. So it's gonna have a primary key. So put the annotation. Make sure you import it from persistence. I don't know why they have the other one there. This one is too long to write, so just copy and paste. Let's import. Like I mentioned, the department should have a name. Department should also have what I mentioned again. Location. Let's just call it a string for now. And also keep this in mind. This is gonna be helpful. Make sure whenever you're working with Spring, make sure you always have like an empty no arg constructor. This is just to prevent like future errors from ever showing up, because I encountered quite a lot of problems when I didn't have that. Getters and setters, and this had the toString method. Oh, by the way, let's verify in our faculty. Did we? I don't think we generated getters and setters for the ID. Oh, I forgot it. Oops, this is a bad place to put it. Let me know if I'm going too fast, by the way.
And this will be recorded and possibly later to view.
I think Dr. Ganai is recording this. Is that correct?
Perfect. I think I'm gonna have to take off there.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Do you want
So,
it on the phone as well, or is it just name and location?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat yourself?
Department phone, is that a variable in there as well?
Oh no, I don't think I added department phone. Maybe we could add that. Let me check. Did we need to add? Oh, there was department phone. I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you. I almost forgot. I had the department phone. Thanks again.
Sure.
Yeah, as I said, it's for the phone. Sorry about this. And they just updated toString method, just so that I could include the phone. Okay. All right. If everything works accordingly, and yeah. Actually, let's run this now that we've added a change. So let's relaunch our application. And if we look at the console, we're gonna see something interesting, hopefully. Oh, okay. I guess it's gonna show it right now. Oh yeah, this. This is how we're able to. All right, this is gonna be the link where we're gonna see our database, because we're working with an embedded database. Now, give me 1 second because I don't like how this is looking. I'm sorry, just bear with me for 1 second. Uh, I need to get something from the application or properties file. Like I mentioned, we use this for a lot of configuration. Yes. Okay. So if you can, right, go to your application, go to source main resources, go to your application or properties file, and include this in here. Yeah, that would be great. That would be better. Okay, give me 1 second. And yes. So, now the purpose of this is just so that Spring doesn't generate some kind of unique unique name for our data source. So let's rerun the application. And ta-da. Now to see the database, let's go to, instead of localhost 8080/grizzlies, change the grizzlies to h2-console. Interesting. It broke. And this is funny. Oh, I see. There's another configuration I didn't add because I wanted to access it through the web, so I forgot to include this. The more we learn. I'll send this in chat as well. Hopefully this should resolve this. Add that to your application or properties file. It's just another configuration. Localhost 8080. Okay, so this should show. Let me know if this is showing for you, by the way.
It's showing for me.
Okay, that's great. If it shows for you, just click on connect. And what we see here is Hibernate automatically has generated the entities we need, the table. It generated two tables, faculty and departments, each with attributes. See how we had faculty first name? So it kind of follows this pattern. Let me give you an example of what I mean by a pattern. In our departments, or rather in our faculty, you saw how we followed like a camel case, um, small letters, capital letters, right? So it has a way of kind of identifying that, and it just names it this way, but it represents it with like an underscore. And in our department, we can also see the names for the attributes. Now, let's say some of us don't really like how this is being named, right? We can say, hey, Spring, I want you to change the name of the column, right? And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to introduce a new annotation called column. And this is just to specifically tell Hibernate that we are naming this faculty. First, what's the better name to call this? Let's call it first name. Do an import. Column. Last name. I will save and relaunch. So let's refresh and connect. And just like that, we specifically told Hibernate how to generate the column names, and using that annotation at column, we can specifically tell it what it should be. Anyway, let's continue from here because we've taken so much time on just creating the faculty. Now I want to do something very interesting. So we know how in real life, a department can have multiple faculties, and a faculty can have at least one department. So, well, essentially in a one-to-many relationship, as you may have noticed in database. So we want to make sure that for every faculty, um, it should have a department. The department. Now we're gonna add an annotation to let's Spring and Hibernate know that the relationship between the department and the faculty is gonna be a many to one. best if I just copy the annotation from here. All right, by the way, this is how I want. I think this is the better way of showing you an example of what I did right here. So right here, we're specifically telling Hibernate that this is going to be a many to one relationship. Cascading is just a simple way of saying it's a simple way of handling operations between a parent and a child entity. For example, in this, the parent entity is going to be the department because it can have multiple children faculty. So we just put it as all. If you want, like based on your business rule, you can decide, okay, if a department gets deleted, the fellow faculty should be deleted as well. Or you can decide they should be detached. Right now, we're going to use all because we're not going to waste too much time on Spring Data because it's very, what's the right word? Should I call it abundant or there's a wealth of knowledge in just Spring Data alone, right? And then we'll add this annotation add join column so that it should show up as a, what's the word? It should show up as, what's the opposite of primary key? Foreign key, yes. It will show up as a foreign key named department underscore ID. So if you can follow this, this would be great. And make sure you add the at JSON ignore. I'll explain the reason why, but just let's follow this. Add the many to one annotation and the join column. Miranda, would it be better to share the presentation slides to Discord? Because there's a glossary on slide 7. So whenever they say new annotation, they can look at the slide and not be confused. Yeah. Yes. That'll be perfect. All right. Am I with you guys or are you guys a little bit lost?
At the
Do you
moment,
want?
I'm struggling to open up the H2 console.
I see. Let's see. If you go to Discord, I added some code. Check out this code. I added some statements that you need to add into your application or properties file. Can you see it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I added those. It's saying that like my database is not found on the localhost website.
Database not found on a localhost website. Let me see. Mm, let's see. Could it be from when you created the project? Like in your dependency, did you add the H2 database?
Yeah, like let me see if I can share my screen.
Okay. Photos are here. Do you guys also have that issue? Are you good? I'll probably need help afterwards. Okay. I mean,
Can my scene be, or can my screen be seen?
yeah, I can see it. Second.
I can rerun the code real quick just to.
Okay, that database URL should not be that like that.
And then
Go to your Eclipse, go to your console. If you go to Eclipse and you should check your console
oh,
view.
it's separate than that. Yeah,
Yes.
let
That's
me see
probably the
if
issue.
that works. Oh yeah, now it works. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. For good, I'd appreciate if you could also follow this naming strategy for the columns. Like faculty, the ID name should be faculty underscore ID, just like this. I would appreciate if you all could also include this as well. Right. I can also do a demonstration of what I mean. Keep in mind the column annotation is not really necessary, right? But sometimes you might want to avoid issues with naming. Faculty F9. By the way, anyone else with any issues? Are we all good to go?
My application properties is showing blank on IntelliJ.
Application properties is blank. I'm sorry, I didn't get your issue. You said your application properties file is blank.
Yeah, how do I see that the console part that you're showing? How do I see that? Because
Oh,
I'm
how?
only yeah. How do I get to that area?
I think on Eclipse you do open perspective. Never mind, it's not gonna be here. 1 second. So you select window, show view, and then you click on console. Do you see it now?
Bear with me. I'm trying to find it. Windows, active tool. Oh yeah, here I see view mode. No, that. No, I can't see. I don't know if anyone else has it open on IntelliJ. Can show me what it looks like on IntelliJ.
It should actually be at the bottom.
At the bottom, I see version control, debug, to do problems, terminal, services, build, and dependencies.
What was the question?
Well, how do I get to this console part to change that, to make that change that was sent in Discord?
The console?
I believe you just run it.
When you hit run, do you not see the console?
The console
No.
should automatically pick up as soon as you press run.
That's on the main Grizzly service application, correct? When I run
Yes, that's
that.
wherever the main is located.
Okay, let me try running it. Cause I remember someone.
So at the bottom, there's a tab called Run on the bottom left-hand side.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That is where
Correct. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Also, could you point me to that line number again to on the console?
You mean for? I mean, you can just come up anytime. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't catch your question. I was answering to someone in person. I'm sorry. What was the question again?
No worries. I was just asking what to change on in the application properties that you mentioned, so we can see the console on the browser.
Yes. I sent it to the Discord. If you check the messages in open chat.
Mm-hmm. And where do I paste that?
You paste it in your application or properties file. So in source main resources,
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to see this. Source main resources. You see an application or properties
Okay.
file. Click on it and just paste
Got
it there.
it. Okay, thank you very much.
Everyone else, are we good?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm fine.
Okay, so we're doing the column names. Faculty phone, faculty email. Oh, I forgot the email. This has some email for faculty. I'm sorry. Any annotation? Cascade. This cascade type below. I'm just gonna copy paste. Let's get type below.
The column name should be optional. That should be to have the same column name on your SQL.
Yes, it's optional. I think is mostly because I'm gonna add a data.sql file, like some insert statements. That way we don't have to insert stuffs manually. This is what I mean. Let me give you an idea of what I'm trying to do. So I'm gonna have some, goodness me, what is this? So I'm gonna have some insert statements ready,
Okay,
right?
I get it.
Yeah, so that we don't have some issues with Hibernate right now. Like he said, he's right. It's optional. And then we'll make it join column. His name is equal to cardinals. Yes. Hmm. Do we do JSON ignore here? Yeah, we'll add a JSON ignore. Actually, let me show you what happens when you add a JSON.ignore file. All right, so because I added the email and departments, I'm just gonna do a getters and setters for that. And we put it in the wrong place. Okay, nice. Yeah, we put it in the wrong place. And for toString, let's also just fix that. Sorry about that. And now for the departments, just to kind of help you guys out, this is how I want it to look like essentially. Now, if you look closely at the one-to-many relationship, I called it mapped by department. This department is referencing the name of the variable that we have here. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So if you can do this, that would be great. Fluffy, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the table annotation is also optional, right?
I was looking away. What was that?
The table annotation is also optional, unless you're trying to specify to Hibernate that
Yes,
you
yes,
have a
that's
different,
optional.
yes.
You could
So you
actually
don't,
create that on the application properties as
for
well.
real?
So you could have it so that it checks whether or not the table name exists, and if it's not, it'll create it in the name of it.
I think I know what you mean.
No, wait, I confuse schema with table. But
I mean, it does generate the schema based on the table. Anyway, we'll get to that part when we need to. It's not even necessary right now, so. Because I'm lazy and I trust my naming conventions, this is what I'm gonna do. Now let's add the, it's gonna be a list of faculties. Sorry, I gotta do this again, but if you're lost, just let me know. I'll go back. Cascades. Now what else? Common. Oh, I think I need to use Cascade. Yeah, I do need to use Cascade. Did I name it wrong? Just missing points. Okay. Shit. We'll get rid of them now. Yeah. Yeah, we can just. This is what happens when you try to like change the name of variables without refactoring. So now you have to type everything all again. Mhm. Okay, perfect. I think everybody's up to date with this, correct? Correct.
Yeah, I
Yes.
believe I am.
Okay. All right. Now we're gonna have to relaunch this application, which by now you're probably tired of doing this over and over, right? So there's a better way to do that. So let's terminate the application. Let's go back to our start of spring.io, right? There is a dependency called Spring Boot DevTools. So this kind of helps us restart the application each time we make a new change and save it. So I'll click on this. Now I don't have to download this because this is what we actually need. Like I mentioned before, our pom.xml file holds the dependencies. And where is it? Yes, this is it. Can you all see this?
Yep.
Yeah, so just copy this and go to your projects, go to your pom.xml file, and in the dependencies area, just add it anywhere after, let's add it after the first dependency. This, what's format and again? Yes, just like that. When you're also working with like some third-party libraries, you most likely would be doing something like this where you'll be adding the dependencies and just save. Now let's run our application again and we'll notice the difference. So we run our application. Okay. So it tells us DevTools properties is active.
When doing that, be sure to rebuild, reload, or whatever it says. So in IntelliJ, sometimes it'll pop up an option to reload it because you just changed the dependencies.
Just checking my database. Everything seems fine. No problems here. Okay. And the best part about this is, for example, if I don't know, add a space, or get rid of a space, and I save, Spring automatically restarts the application. See, that way we don't have to relaunch each time. All right, we tackled the most stressful part. Now let's go to another one, which is repository. So we want to create some database operations. Let's say we want to add something to a database. we want to read from a database or we want to delete an entity from a database, this is the place where we're gonna be holding our operations. So let's start off by creating a package again. And this time we call it .repo. And we're gonna create two interfaces, one for the faculty. That way it's responsible for handling every database operations related to the faculty, and another for the department, right? By the way, we're creating them as interfaces, not Java classes. So keep that in mind. And in the namespace, so check out the namespace. When we create this the faculty repo, we need to make sure it extends JPA repository. Oh, spoilers. And we're gonna put in the class name and the data type of our ID as arguments. Okay. Let me show you how. Let me show you what I mean. So right now, let's go to source main. Let's add a new package called repo. This is all going to be for our database operations. Faculty, let's shorten it to faculty repo. You know it's going to be, oh no, yeah, it's running again. Let's create another one called departments repo. So this is all, this is all we're going to do. First, we need to make sure that Spring knows that this is a repository and also it's a component. So we add the repository annotation, right? And then, like I mentioned, extends JPA repository. And it will take two arguments, the class, which is departments, and the data type of our ID, which was long. Let's put it as long. Yeah, so try and refuse a regular long, so we have to use this. Okay. And that's it. We don't have to add any other methods. We don't have to write queries for creating an entity. Everything is stored within the JPA repository. So it has methods like save. It has simple methods like, for example, if you want to find an entity by ID, it has a method that can get you the specific entity you're looking for. If you want to get a count of entities within your database, all those methods are stored within the JPA repository. Actually, let's see if we can look through it. Yes, we can. JPA repository also extends a bunch of other repositories. CRUD repository? CRUD repository, yes, this is it. So for example, it has a method for saving an entity into a database, save all, find it by its ID, delete by ID, but we're not gonna go too deep with that. Spring actually helps us abstract all those functions, and all we have to do is just put an interface for it. Let's also do the same for the faculty repo. Remember, annotation, repository, extends our favorite JPA repository, which takes in a faculty class and the data type, which is a long. Are we good on this?
Yes.
Nice. Anyone else struggling, having issues with this? Okay. Let's go to our slides so that I can make sure I'm on track. All right, now we're back to our controller layer again. Right now, we've set up connections to our database. We've established the operations that is going to be done. We've also set up the entities we'll be needing. Now we're going to work on the controller layer since we've successfully done the database. Now keep in mind, usually there are four requests, or rather four types of requests that comes in. They're usually a get request, which is when a user wants to view they want to view a file or they want to get access to a website to view it. There's also a post request. This is used, for example, if you want to create a new faculty or create a new member, a new department, we can use the post request because we're sending in information through the HTTP request. We now have the put mapping. Put mapping is just for updating. So we find the specific entity and we just update it with the information we feed it. And the last one that I did not include here, I'm sorry about that, is the delete request or the delete mapping. So let's start off by getting rid of the Grizzly web service. The Grizzly web service, I believe I showed you right here. The Grizzly web service class right here, because we don't really need that right now. What we want to do is we want to create controllers for, I hope you don't mind, I just want to turn this off right now. Sorry. We're going to create controllers responsible for faculty and responsible for departments. Let's start with which one do we start with? Let's start with faculty, for instance. So we're going to create a new class, faculty controller. Okay. And does anyone remember the annotation for our REST controller? Anyone, Joe? Okay. So it's gonna be our REST controller. This is the annotation, like I mentioned, that will be used for creating our RESTful APIs. And we want this to respond to the URL request going to /faculty. So localhost 8080/faculty. This class will be responsible for handling that request. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce our interface into this, which is our repository. Like I mentioned, the faculty repository is going to handle the data operations within the faculties, right? So we want to call it, let's call it faculty repo. Now let's create the constructor. If I'm going too fast, let me know. And as arguments, we're going to put in a faculty repo. Let's call this repo. And this is a new annotation, auto-wired. You're probably going to see this a bunch later on if you're building with Spring. So what happens usually is whenever you're trying to build something, right, you often instantiate the objects before you can use the object. What Spring does is it gets all those up, the classes that we put annotations on. It gets all of this pre-summarized. It gets everything and puts it in some form of container, such that whenever we need it, it gives it to us at runtime. So remember how we created those empty constructors, right? So Spring automatically creates those stuff for us and it's being stored in a container such that when we need it, it returns it to us. And it comes with a lot of benefits. That way we don't have to manually instantiate the objects. Okay. I hope I've not lost everyone.
No,
All
you're
right,
good.
great. So we're gonna do a get mapping. So let's do something. We want it such that whenever the user goes to localhost 8080/faculty with a get request, we want it to return a list of the faculties. So let's put the list get all faculty. I want this to return. We'll say this the faculty repo now dots. Now we can see all the methods that are inside our faculty repo, right? Right now, what we need is to get a find all, which returns a list of all the faculties inside the database. Now, this might be new to some people, maybe not to all, but oftentimes when you do this stuff, faculty report or find all, it doesn't just give you a list of entities. It gives you something we call an optional. So what I will do is I'll do dot get. Oh, hold on 1 second. I think this should return the list. It's the other one that returns it. Oh, my bad. This returns a list. The other get mapping is supposed to return an optional. Let me show you what I mean. So let's say you want to get a specific faculty, right, in your database. How do you usually like try to retrieve that certain faculty from the database? Any ideas? I'm just talking based on SQL statements. Do you guys have any idea?
Create database or insert update. What was your question?
If you want to retrieve, when you usually want to retrieve an entity from a database using SQL statements, how do you usually go about it?
Is it select?
Yeah,
Select yes.
select.
All right.
You can probably use the asterisk to select all columns or a specific column field.
Right. And like what we defined in our entities, each faculty is going to be unique, right? So it comes with a unique ID, such that if we do say localhost 8080 slash, let me write this down so you can see. So if the user goes to localhost 8080 slash faculty slash, for example, 2, we want this to be a path variable such that the database, or rather, the repo goes to the database and finds a faculty with this unique ID called 2. Am I making myself clear? Let me explain it once more. We want to make sure that we get a specific faculty based on this unique ID that we already defined before. So let's see, let me show you this. In our gets mapping, we want to do localhost 8080 slash faculty slash an ID. This is going to be our path variable. And we want it to return a certain faculty, a specific faculty based on this ID. This is a path variable, so we call it path variable. What we do is we return this dot faculty repo dots. We want to find it by ID, which amazingly enough, we have a method for that. Like I mentioned, it returns an optional. It doesn't just return the faculty itself, it returns an optional. And then we do a dot gets, which gives us the faculty inside that optional. All right, let's go to localhost 8080 this time around. This time around, we go to slash faculty. Now you can see it's empty because we didn't add any information, right? Let's see. I kind of want to give you guys an example of how it looks like. Let me see. I think the best approach is, no, let's just make the request. At the end, I want us to kind of test this on Postman to see how we can view the information using Postman, how we test the APIs. So the next thing we want to work on is a post mapping. So with a post mapping, we expect the user to give us some values, correct? Because they're trying to create a faculty, for instance. So let's call this I'll call this a void type because I don't want it to return something. I want it to just update. So I'll call it a create faculty. Usually we expect the user to give us information for a faculty like faculty name, faculty phone, location. So we're gonna call this a request body. And we're gonna expect a faculty. We're gonna expect a faculty object from the user. By the way, don't forget to do the import statements. And if you're a bit lost, this is the glossary. This is just a glossary that kind of explains a little bit of what I'm referring to. Anyway, back to what I'm working on. And what we say is this is a faculty repo dot save entity. If anybody is lost, I appreciate if you let me know. Are we all good?
Yes.
Nice. Last but not least, delete mapping. Yes. Oh snap. Almost out of time. Okay.
I recommend showing the get mapping, the very top one, as an
Yes.
example.
Right now, actually, let's also use Postman for this. This would be a better, because we're already at the end. So do you guys have Postman installed? And that's fine. I think you can go to Postman. You can go to postman.com. Well, this is how it's going to look like on the desktop now. Second. So I already have the Postman installed on my computer. So when you go to localhost 8080, well, it's it's gonna show us the index.html file we created. So when we go to slash faculty, you see that there's nothing in here, right? But if we do a post method to create a faculty, so we'll go to body, we'll go to raw, and we're gonna put in a JSON body. So bear with me. It's gonna be based on the name of our faculty name, faculty last name, faculty phone. Oh, I knew something was on. Thank you. I'm just trying to match it with the name and the email, faculty email. Is there where we can do it online? Eh.
Forrest, are you about to make a YouTube video?
There are like millions of that. Oh my. So when I do a post request, I get a 200 OK, which means that it's successful. So when I do a get request, I get the list of, oh, this is what happens when you don't match the names. It shows that no. But if
go
you do match the names, yeah.
go ahead and copy the URL onto the web browser and show them like what it would look like.
Oh, you mean the completed version?
Yeah, just paste it right there,
Yeah, this is
and you
how
would
it's
see it.
usually like in AP.
Yeah, you would see it raw. You won't see it parsed.
Yeah. So usually, it returns the information like this in kind of like JSON format. Now, if you're really good with front-end frameworks like React, you can consume this API in such a way that you get the necessary information you want and you display it on your HTML page. Now, just due to time, let me just kind of give you an example of how the full stuff should look like. Because I already have this created. And give an example of how it should normally look like. I have this on port localhost 9090. To normally show this as full on. I already have some data installed inside the database, so it will normally show like the ID, first name, last name, phone, and with the help of our friend Fluffy, I was also able to modify the HTML page, the index of HTML page. With a little bit of JavaScript, I was able to create a basic web page. Um, Also, if you click on due to our connections that we made with the database and faculty, the department and faculty, you can click on any department ID, and you're also able to retrieve the faculties based on the departments. Okay, and just for demonstration, we can also this is it. We can also add in a department. So I did a test button. Once
looks
clicked, I
looks like you
refresh.
never cleaned up that test button.
Yes. Yes, there was no time for that, so unfortunately. But you can see with this, if you're able to manipulate the controller, you can get the values you want, display it on a web page on that index.html. And if you're familiar with something like React, there's a way to get that index.html page and just put your components on that. Okay. Let's just speed through the slides. I'm gonna share the slide just in case anyone else wants to see. If you've come so far, oh yeah, remember the layer I showed you, database controller view? There's some other different ways of handling this. For example, what if you have an exception when you're creating your request? Most people often have like a component called service, and service will handle like your exceptions. Maybe if you want to do some further operations on the data you get from your database without giving it out to the user, you can have something like this. This is essentially how the Spring Boot architecture should look like. Whenever a client makes a request, it goes to the controller, and the service layer is where we get the information from our database, and we kind of we kind of have all the functions within our service such that our controller just calls the service to do work for us. Okay. And yeah, by the way, don't just stop here. This is just a simple visualization of how you can create a full stack application. You have a little bit of exposure to Spring Boots. You can change the H2 database with MySQL instead of H2. And from there on, you can, work on that.
All right. So everyone, if you can please give a round of applause for our presenter, our VP of Grizzly Hacks, Fars or Peter, in the real world. It can be silent. Yay!
Hooray! Good job, Peter.
Yeah, I figured doing it on Discord might be a little much. But so I'm the president, Mermy. I'm just talking through Peter's profile right now, or Miranda in real world. So just real quick, before we all leave, I just wanted to let you guys know that we do have a little bit planned for the semester. We will hopefully try to plan out a couple of workshop ideas, and then
Thank you, Miranda. I was just saying thank you, both of you. Enjoy the pizza. We should, we should just go and pick them up, Jimmy. We need to stream the pizza over Discord. Squeeze it into the microphone. Bye. I just pasted it again. Bye. I just pasted the link again.